Ladies and gentlemen, it's officially league season for Splatoon 3. CCA just finished up its first week, and Ludy just started up its first week. We get to introduce you to not one, but two new segments for the duration of the leagues. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Hi, I'm Rice, and let's break it down in the weekly ink. Before our duo of dastardly leagues, we got some normal events to cover first, starting with our weeklies as always. Paddling Pool 308 was a bit larger of an event than usual, with 29 teams coming out for the EU Weekly this time around. The event was taken in a surprising upset by Seed 3 V-Bucks plus Acampions, who upset Seed 1 Crispy in winners finals before facing down Seed 21. Yeah, in a shocking run, the Tapico Shondu C21 made an insane run all the way to grand finals, taking out several teams predicted to take it all, including the top two seeds. Insane run from them, and congrats to V-Bucks for the win overall in one of the wildest paddling pools to date. As for our other weekly, Swim or Sink saw 55 players come out for its 180th edition. This time around, the event was surprisingly stacked, with lots of Div X and Div 1 players and teams making it out for the Wednesday evening. The event fell between Poyo, who you all should know by this point, and Galactic Geckos, a pickup of Nico, Miner, Pika, and Pulp. It was a tight set, but a Game 5 on Hagglefish eventually went to Poyo. Well played to them, and before we move on, I want to give a shout out to perhaps my favorite team name of the week, the Face of Unemployment, whose only two players were Prosper and Jeff, apparently. 10 out of 10, no notes. No Prism Break this week, so we're moving on to Dapple's weekend events. Squid Junction 88. As always, this event brought out some top level heat, with teams like Poyo and a Kyo pickup making solid runs. However, it wasn't enough to beat close ones, a pickup of Kit Kat, That Kid, Natami, and Slord. Mayhaps NA isn't as on top as we'd like to believe. For our biggest online event of the week, Barnacle Bash 4 was just as stacked as we predicted it would be in our last episode on the event. Tons of top teams showed up once again, with the top 5 being ripped straight out of the Sendo Q finale last weekend. Vacation had a very impressive run this event, being sent down to losers in round 3 by Crispy before making a 5-set comeback, taking games over Candon, 3AM, and getting the run back on Crispy to make it to grand finals. Unfortunately, the momentum wasn't enough to stop the inevitable, and with the snap of their fingers, Thanos, made up of Gray, Yu, Jordan, and Reiki, eliminated them 3-1. Congrats to Gray and Yoop on winning back-to-back stacked events, and to the rest of the teams as well. Pivoting from NA to JP, Area Cup ran another phenomenal top-level event in Area Cup 30. As always, the event brought out tons of top-level JP talent and also a pickup of Synapse, Henlo, Mocha, and Harshi to try and claim the oh-so-coveted Area Cup win. Grams fell between two pencil comps, with one choosing to use Double Crab with Ghoulies and Stamper Nouveau, and one choosing to play a Bubble comp with Mint. In the end, using Bubble to bait Crab's fire worked out, and Gatsuri Kazutsubu managed to get the win. Well played to them, and be sure to go follow Area Cup. They have an English Twitter account now, so you can easily see what's going on over in the best region in the world. For our biggest LAN of the week, Buyabe ran their second event with Buyabe 2 Fog City. This edition served as the third qualifier event for the Splatoon 3 LAN Championship Showdown, with the winning team earning their spot with My Little Henlo and Octopudes in the final event. This event was no slouch, with 15 teams coming out, including some of the best players in NA. Grand finals ended between No Boys Allowed, made up of Nico, Helix, Muti, Cleffa Pig, and Rydia, and Feeding Frenzies, who had an insane Cinderella run in the event. They upset their seed by 5 places, with a frankly insane losers run, taking sets over On Crack, Chippy Salsa, and Healthy Diet Fused group before finally making it to Grands. And yeah, maybe they got 3-0 there, but the run to Grands speaks for itself. Massive props to them for the run, and congrats to No Boys Allowed for securing their spot in the LAN Championships. We can't wait to see you play. Real quick, as the time this video goes live, we will just miss H-Town Splashtown. Don't worry, it'll be in next week's episode. But the next event in the qualifier for the LAN Championships is Sunset Surge down in Arizona on March 29th, 2025. Be sure to give it a watch, it's peak Splatoon, and consider registering to go if you're in the area. LANs are an amazing experience that every player should experience at least once in their lives. I would know, I run one. Anyways, we finally get to move on to our new segment, the leagues. For the duration of their runs, we intend on covering what's going on in both CCA and LUTI to help you stay up to date in the two biggest competitive Splatoon leagues. While we can't cover literally everything, I mean, CCA has over 100 teams and LUTI has just shy of 500. We'll cover all the top level and break down any other interesting sets throughout the week. So here's what we're looking at this week. Week 1 of CCA was characterized as a week of 4-0s. Coming out of Division 1, nearly every set ended in a dominant victory for one of the two teams, with UCSD Esports and Old Bay Brigade being the only ones who managed to take it to Game 7, which ended in UCSD's favor. ESU Blue, Death Rolls, and Arc Holly all 4-0'd their opponents, with Splatlanders just behind them at a 4-1 on VCU Big Fat Sea Cows. As for the sets we streamed here on IPL, USF Gold and the UCF Knights played a very interesting set that eventually ended in a 4-2 for USF. Oh yeah, we should mention that we'll be streaming a CCA set here on IPL every week, in addition to set streams over on CCA. So if you want to catch some great games, be sure to subscribe here and go follow CCA on their Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the description. As for some non-Div 1 sets that were interesting, HSK Violet got a pivotal 4-2 upset over Texas A&M, setting them up very nicely going into Week 2 and beyond. Down in Div 4, we saw VCU Gummies clearly beat NJIT Turpikes 4-1, getting revenge on NJIT for the domination over the Big Fat Sea Cows in Division 1. And finally, for our Week 1 sets, we saw an incredible set between the Paul University Chicago Squid Hole and PU's We Aquatic Little Creatures. The set went to a tight Game 7, with both teams playing incredibly, but only one can win, and in the end, the Paul just managed to secure the victory. Moving along from CCA over to LUTI, at the time of writing Week 1 hasn't really been played yet, but will fully by next week. Instead, we'd quickly like to take a minute to introduce you to your LUTI Division X teams, as they'll be the main teams we'll be talking about over the course of the season. Don't worry, there will be other sets from lower divs too, but these are the guys you'll be seeing every week. So here are your teams. Firstly, a name you should know very well by this point in the episode, Poyo, the team consisting of Tiny, a temp player, Your Love, a mid-range flex player, Sky, an anchor, and Tacos, a short-range shooter. Next up is Mickey Mouse House, made of Azad, a blaster player, Napia, a gal/shot player, Kit Kat, a pencil player, and Mickey, another blaster player. For our next pickup, we've got Floaters Grab a Life Vest, consisting of half a flex player, Nick, a bucket one-trick, Henlo, a stamper, and Synapse, a splash/Ndapples player. Keeping the pickup train going, it's Manshine, consisting of You, a charger player, Argo, a Brella one-trick, Y, a splash player, and Mox, a brush one-trick. Next is Frink P, made of Kiki, a pen player, Raiki, a pro/stamper player, Fishy, a S-Blast and Mint player, and Punchy, a support shooter player. For our next actual team, it's Vacation. They've got Tiddly, a support shooter player Flex, Steve Dark, an aggro flex player, Silver, a stamper one trick, and Devin 4K, an anchor. Now for EU's first big team, Hariga Hinterlander, made up of Storm, a ballpoint one trick, Toyobin, a shooter flex, Darius, one of the best stampers to ever do it, Trizzy, a brush one trick, and Slurpcat, a slosher. Our next team is Facade, consisting of J-Rod of Splatling Flex, Captain Happy, a pencil, Hayora, an E-leader, Splat, a support shooter, and Ori, a general flex. You know them, you love them. It's Moonlight, consisting of Omega, a Splatana/Carbon player, Basil, the best E-leader in the West who gets put in pencil jail, Shadowwind, a tent one trick who also gets put into support jail, and Nolan, a midline flex player. EU's strongest soldier this Ludy is Candon, made of Risu 3K, a Gal player, Astra, a splash/bucket, a Perdite, a general flex, and Bake, the backline. Our strongest pickup this season goes to Slide to Win, a pickup consisting of Kyo, 7-time NA champion slosher player, Chara, the only Dreadringer to make the weapon work, Biscuit, the team's pencil player, and Sam, a great stamper player. Finally, your Seed 1 for Ludy Division X, EYG X Black Lotus, the team consisting of Noctis, an amazing blaster player, Labby, a general short-range shooter player, Mert, the only solo edit in Division X, and Anger, a phenomenal temp player. So, those are your Division X teams for this season. Get familiar with them. You'll be hearing about them a lot over the next while here on the Weekly Ink. And on that note, that just about wraps up our week. Let us know what you thought down in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you the same time, same place next week.